What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with part 4 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Taurox the Brass Bull campaign. I was just about to say Morghur because, as we saw last time, the spotlight was on our new legendary lord acquisition. Morghur bullied Boris and bullied more of the faction of Karlberg, which I do believe has now been destroyed. The spotlight now will switch to Khazrak, our other newly acquired legendary lord, our third out of 4, and maybe we can reach the 4th Malagor this time around. Before we get started, though, we very much did reach the engagement threshold last episode, and thus this episode will be an hour long, and the offer stands 400 likes and 60 comments, and the next episode will be an hour long as well. Once we reach the 5th episode, we'll also lower the threshold to keep it a little bit more achievable, but for now, that's the challenge. Anyway, let's get started with what we've got to do. Taurox is right beside Grimhammer here, and Khazrak is right beside Grimhammer. I feel like we want to debut Khazrak, so I think maybe we'll move him in for some fun. Let's start off with a Beastmen ambush. I think we'll destroy this little rebel army outside of the settlement just for the additional dread, and then we'll go and face off against Karl with that little bit of a better army that he's got. We're gonna get a point on Mr. Bamu Deathhead. Death Herd, rather, and he's a Bray Shaman of Death. I do wonder whether that was an accident, a happy accident, or whether it was on purpose, but anyway. Let's get Soul Blight for you, because it's a fantastic spell, and I love to spam it whenever I have the Lore of Death. Not my favorite lore, but hey. Fate of Buna, Spirit Leech, and Soul Blight can go a pretty long way, though I think we'll maybe swap out the type of caster in this army. Khazrak, we're not going to spend your points because we're saving them. Now let's get Morghur here real quick. Destroy those rebels with a little ambush, and we've got ourselves a decisive victory with low casualties. Yeah, this feels like it's not worth fighting, so let's get that Totem of Rust. Hex area, -10 armor reduction. I guess we'll put it on Kaz himself. And the War Banner on the Razor Gore Chariots. I should have given the War Banner to Morghur because it can be applied to... the Centaurs with throwing axes, but for now we'll let resolve this in favor of fighting Karl. And oh, wow, that did a lot more damage than I was expecting. Well, that's a shame, but what can you do? We could replenish, but it really is not that much in the way of replenishment. I'm tempted to take the money. We have 2 more turns remaining of the joining of herds, and we want to build as many horde buildings as we can while we have it. So take the money, sacrifice captives. I know it's going to hurt our fightiness, but hopefully we can get it back up nicely. We got 3 more levels waiting on Khazrak to get his unique traits, but otherwise we'll keep what he has for now. Blessed by Evil isn't horrible. I like the post-battle loot increase, in fact, considering we need the money. It's not what I would have gone for first, but it's not the worst thing. Going to Ruination stance, it's time to face off against Karl, who was cast down by Taurox, and then while he was recuperating, lost his capital city, and then as soon as he comes back up, Khazrak arrives outside of his little settlement's gates. He's not having a very good week, Karl is. But anyway, a Pyrrhic victory for us, and I probably shouldn't have auto-resolved that, but we will adapt, we will hopefully overcome. Away we go. Alrighty, here we go, round 2 against poor Karl. Now, he is a level 6, so he's relatively low in terms of levels, but at the same time, Khazrak hasn't spent too much of his points buffing himself up, and Karl hits way, way harder, so we will have to be careful. Otherwise, there's a few very threatening units. The Mortars, the unit of Imperial Foot Reichsguard, if I can find them in here somewhere. Should be a swordsman swordsman unit, that's you, isn't it? Yes. Imperial Foot Reichsguard, the Elector State troops unique to Karl, and they're going to take quite a bit of effort to bring down with those 110 armor, 45 and 56 melee attack and defense. Pretty nice unit, generally speaking. That said, we are still Vanguard deployed, and we will charge right into the enemy ranks. Of course, the single unit of Minotaurs here will be instrumental, together with the Bestigors, which are going to go after the enemy greatswords and prevent those enemy handgunners from firing. We do have a little bit of poison application coming in from our Ungor Raiders, and over on the flanks, we have our units of Beastmen Warhounds, our Razor Gore Chariots, and more Beastmen Warhounds all the way over here. There we go. Glass cannon-y perhaps, but very high in terms of their damage-dealing capabilities due to the buffs that Khazrak offers them. And the mortars and the crossbows here will be very quickly silenced. Khazrak will be facing off against Karl, looks like exchanging HP for HP roughly evenly. But we also want to do a little bit of cycle charging with Khazrak, as he is on that chariot with 155 charge bonus. So it would be a waste to simply stand there and duel Karl. We'll charge right in to help these Ungor spear herd out a little bit, and Karl will follow us in anyway, so we can continue fighting him right after. Alright, keep whacking away at them, Khazrak, while we deal with the rest of the enemy army. Swordsmen still trying to defend crossbows here, but crossbows embroiled in the combat with the Warhounds, and they will of course lose. We will, however, lose against the Imperial Foot, as there's no way a Ungor spear unit are going to be able to handle them, though on the bright side, a unit of Ungor spears forcing a unit of Reichsguard foot knights to sort of just sit there and waste their time with them is pretty darn efficient, I would say. Minotaurs getting help from those Razor Gore chariots now, trampling through the enemy ranks, and by the looks of it, the greatswords and halberdiers that were charged by the Minotaurs and great weapon Bestigors have managed to pull off the win on their flank. The balance of power is about 70% in our favor now. Karl less than half HP, and Kaz is going to loop back around and cycle charge again to keep taking advantage of that ludicrous charge bonus of his. If we intend to keep him on a chariot, and we probably will, then, well, he should make use of that charge bonus. Alright, Karl is trying to make his way towards him, and not to worry, Kaz will meet him in battle. There we go, nice little charge, and keep them back with the Ungor spears poking away with their anti-large and the poison on Karl as well. Looks like Kaz will win this one, as Karl will shatter and the rest of his army will follow suit. In terms of damage, it looks like the Imperial Foot were still above half HP, but that does make sense. Eventually they would have gotten overrun by the Minotaurs, Bestigors, and Razor Gores. It was far more efficient to use these damage dealers to overrun the rest of Karl's army and then deal with the Imperial Foot after, since they were distracted so long by those Ungors. Anyway, nice little close victory for Khazrak's debut, and his army can only get stronger from here. Oh, alright, that took a little bit of effort. Those Imperial Foot Reichsguard were obviously not going to go down easy, and frankly, the greatswords did pretty okay as well, and one of those regular swordsman units as well. Though, of course, we went in there much more damage than perhaps originally expected, but that's just fine. 32k damage on the Razor Gore chariots makes sense to me. That's still a ton of damage, so well done to those guys, but we'll have plenty more of them in this particular army, as it, like the Warhounds, it's one of Khazrak's signatures, and maybe we'll combine them with some Hounds of Pestilence, as the regular Beastmen Warhounds are a little bit on the fragile side. Anyway, got a nice amount of cash as a reward and a Gambler's armor, which I'm thinking Khazrak is going to need. I think we'll raise a herd stone here so that Kazrak has something to do, so I'll raise one immediately. And challenge completed. Swell, caused terror when fighting the Empire, and then, hey, more unit experience faction-wide, which, considering we're constantly replacing units, also does make reasonable amounts of sense. Now, before we move anybody else, there's a little bit of Diplo to do, I think. And, oh, the Deceivers. So since they're a horde faction, I take it we can't get any units from them, I assume. Or is there some way that you can now? How much money would you give us for this? I mean, I guess we're allying with various Chaos factions and nobody else, so yeah, this makes sense. Do that, and frankly, while we're doing that, how do the Fecondites feel about that defensive alliance? They don't want to, but I'd like to start racking up. Yeah, there we go. Ally with them and attack Hawkland at the same time. I would like to start racking up bonuses with them, or allegiance with them, so that we can eventually build some of their units. Defensive alliance for now. Of course, Kugath would probably be better for easier access to various Nurgle units, but, you know, gotta get something. And also, we can't have our herdstones everywhere, which means we will need some Chaos factions to take control of a few places, or else, well, if the Skaven take control of everything, then everything's going to be Skavened up, and quite problematic. These guys really want peace, eh? And they're willing to give us 5.6k. Okay, that's fine. We'll just redeclare war on them in 10 turns. This is tremendously foolish of you, but we need the money. Ah, look at that. We need to build the tier 4 building for Taurox, which will enable him to shortly build the building that will enable him to access additional Minotaurs, which I do like. Don't care for any of the defensive agreements with the Skaven right now, even though the money ain't too bad. But it might be something that we may want to look into. Anyway, let's see what else we have here. Taurox, I guess you're going to take Grim Duraz, though... Funnily enough, this wouldn't be too bad of a place to build a herdstone, but I guess we could build one up here instead. And Garb and Hold. Hopefully it does the same thing that this one's doing. Although I suppose Klesson will also be part of this one. And we may cast down Eilhart in place of getting Marienburg. I don't think we care about the single... landmark at Marienburg here. Challenges of the Dark Gods, completion rate 10%. So it's 10% research rate, but the other two things that it has are kind of irrelevant. It does make for a slightly better garrison than another port would, so maybe might be a little bit easier to defend, but otherwise, kind of meh. I'll think about it. Either way, Slaw, you are going to go down and join Taurox because he has Minotaurs and you have buffs for Minotaurs. Morghur, you're going to go into Despoiler raiding just to travel as far as you can, or as close as you can, to Altdorf, and then get into Hidden Encampment and continue doing your thing. Alright, and Hidden Encampment, please. Good. Now... we have some cash, and we once again want to make use of this, so... while we will for now ignore the Centaur building, I think we'll want to start building these everywhere, the raiding parties. Yeah, we would like the tier 4 thing, but I think for now it's a little bit on the too expensive side, and I think it's better to spend other things. Wait, it's 4.5k and 6k with the reductions? Horde building construction cost minus 20%. That's with the reductions, that's what you're telling me right now, game. Doesn't feel much reduced. Well, I'm just gonna assume that it is, though. 1875, yeah, it probably is. It's probably 2,500 all the way up. And we should start spamming these. Every single horde that gets this, more income from raiding and campaign movement range, it'll stack to fairly high up over time, so it'll be worth our time. We don't want to build one of those in... Taurox's army, at least not yet, though. Because he wants to upgrade his main building, which will be a little bit more important. Kazrak, you can upgrade your main building, but for now I think we ignore that. We do want to get you a pit hovel. We also want to get you the impaled corpses for additional dread. Damn, there's a lot of useful stuff. Constant casualty or punishment rate out of the pile of flesh as well, but it's a little bit on the expensive side. And oh, Kazrak doesn't have the Hounds of Pestilence building. And he's gonna need it. I mean, that's the main thing that he wants. I guess he can already build regular warhounds, but I feel like we should make use of the Hounds of Pestilence for him. It'll be quite nice. Man, I just wish it wasn't so expensive. What can you do? Alrighty, fine. We'll build a building here. Done. And 4.5k. Now, what we have to make sure of is that we have enough money after that to still build Taurox's main structure, which currently costs 6.7k. So we need about 7k remaining afterwards. If we build a little tiny building here, the raiding party, and we upgrade you, Pit Hovel. Oh, but we also want the Pit Hovel in Morghur's army, because this unlocks Angriest for him, which he buffs. Damn, you both need that, but that's 9k. It will leave not enough. So I guess the question then is, who needs it more? I mean, you have a relatively unique unit with it, but you have more ringers currently, so I'm inclined to say that you need it more. Pit Hovel. Alright, and we'll just try to acquire a few more, a little bit more cash. Anyway, looks like we won't be able to raise a herd stone at Grim unfortunately, but it is what it is. You're going to go into Ruination stance and quickly just auto-resolve this. And then start moving back around to Carrick Ziflin. Alright, yeah, this is not worth fighting, but hey, maybe the forces at Ziflin will be. 7.3, or 733 money. It's something. And ooh. Now, why was that so much money? Well, more than I was expecting, and I'm very happy with it. Luton Rays, my friend, and really, the one time that we wanted him to move away was the one time that he didn't. Oh, Taurox, you're messing with me now. Alrighty. Well, away you go. 3k, I believe, gives us not quite... No, I think we should have enough. So we should be able to build the Pit Hovel at both. I really wish that this would actually increase the capacity by like 1 at least. But hey, it's still something. And there we go. And just a teensy bit short, but we can manage. Now what we do need to do here is counterbalance the units. Oh man, we're gonna need some capacities. I guess some Morghur capacities. They're not that expensive. Let's do 1. It's an extra 1 of each, or is it extra 2 of each? I didn't check. It's an extra 2 of each, which ain't bad, and that'll mean we can re-up these guys. And yeah, I know that they have veterancy ranks, but I also don't particularly care about that. Let's get one... Oh, wait. I want to see what Morghur currently has in his army. So you have the Gore Herd, and frankly, that should probably go to Kazrak, but, you know, that's life. Let's get you guys grouped up and replace one of you, like so. And you're missing a spear. I guess we could take away one of the Beastmen Warhounds here. In fact, we'll probably have to take away 2. Oh, because you know what? Yeah, well, there's no need to build this one right now, because we're going to get these guys, the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run. And well, I'm sure we could replace the Ungors or something. That's fine. Let's replace other stuff here with you, then. You get an Ungor Spear Herd. At least 1 more. And I guess we'll just replace both of these guys, it'll be easier. Can't build Gores yet, at least not for this turn, so we'll do that. And I don't care enough about the veterancy on the Hounds to not replace them, so we're going to. Alright, goodbye. And there you go, 4. And I guess you could build some more Warhounds. I mean, Kazrak does buff them and we can get them back easily. And build another Ungor Raider. Frankly, we'll replace most of these with Gores shortly afterwards, but we need capacity for them, and we need the turns to build them. There we go, that looks good to me. Skip, building upgrade, outpost available. No, we're not wasting money on that, unless... There's no way it's free, right? I'm pretty sure it's not. Now it's 3,000 gold, or 3,000 favor, and that's just not going to happen at the current time. Taurox, you have also leveled, but I guess we can wait until we hit the Ziflin for that, so... Well, let's end the turn. Gotta get a few more of these rituals up and running. Unfortunately, our rampage has also ended, which means we can't move any further, but that's okay. take a little bit of that time to upgrade a few of our units. And ooh, I believe the full moon is up and running this turn, unless I'm mistaken, which means we should be able to get another upgrade. Or not upgrade, but event. And faction-wide buff. Let's see what buffs become available to us. Alright, when one falls is a massive casualty replenishment rate, Ruinous incentive, that's my favorite incentive, gives us 4 bestial rage, beastly inclinations, just a buff, and a tiny bit of dread per turn. At only 25 per turn is probably not worth it. I'm inclined to say... Well, when one falls right now isn't the worst option, since a few of our armies are pretty damaged. So is the Bestial Rage, of course, but I think we'll do when one falls rather than waiting until replenishment fixes itself. That allows us to keep raising, rather than the other thing. Sons of Goros, Centaurs with great weapons. Swell. Hey, another Spawn Wrangler. Ranked up, well stable to recruit Chaos Spawn units. Fantastic. Morghur, you're gonna be a very happy... I don't know what to call you. Abomination. And ooh, Aldebrand Ludenhof is moving in as well. Kazrak, looks like you've got yourself another something to do. You're still damaged, but I think not so damaged that you can't take out piles of crossbows with those hounds of yours. Let's give this Chaos Spawn to... I can never remember. Can you give it to heroes? I think you can't. No, it has to be on lords. Alright, fine. Kazrak. Well... let's give the Spawn our Angler to you, because Taurox has gotten the last 2, so it could very well be that that he'll get another one. You have the Bray Shaman's thing, and I do believe you need one. Also, before I forget, guys, stop naming Minotaurs for a while. I have like 30 Minotaur names and very few names for any of the other type of units. Please name some hounds, for example. Oh man, because I won't be able to get all those Minotaur names in there, but I will get the good ones in there. Then there are very, very many good ones. Let's see, you sir. I'm gonna keep raiding for a turn. Proceed to Ziflin, because it's the only place you can reach. And let's see how much you raid per turn. And next turn, you'll be able to upgrade your main territory. So we'll have to raise Ziflin and then spend the turn building up to access it. And then hopefully right after, and get that Minotaur and Gorbull building up and running. Our first Gorbull. Happy about that as well. You... Morghur. Alright, how do we want to do this with you? We want you... Well, you know what? Go briefly to Altdorf. We have our reasons. Alright, you're gonna go right here. Then you're going to get both of these, since you're buffing them up. Get both of the Centaurs and disband the Warhands. We'll keep the Harpies, because we'll transfer them to Malagor as soon as he's up and running. But for now, Morghur, you've got plenty of buffs for these guys, or you will have plenty of buffs for these guys. Yeah, melee defense and weapon strength for Centaurs. It's quite nice. And then the Shadow gave, yeah, most of your buffs are towards Chaos Spawn, which actually reminds me, ooh, our first Sandgore, definitely build you, sir. Then, man, we might actually have to get rid of the Harpies. We do have the ability to build 2 more Chaos Spawn, which we damn well should. But the Harpies are really good at dishing out damage, but I guess this entire army is as well. You know what? Get rid of the 2... No, we'll have, like, no Ungors. Nah, fine, we'll get rid of the Harpies. We'll have Malagor build them separately. Ah, and some Gores for Kazrak as well. 2 more Chaos Spawn, and there we go. Morghur. Army is starting to look a lot better than it was. And before, Kazrak will also buff you up shortly, with some better hounds and some Gores, but we're also about to attack with you. I just want to double check a couple of things. Clan Creepus wants a defensive alliance. 2.5k, getting better. I just wanted to see how much money we can acquire from them in various ways by various means. You can actually upgrade to the next level and get the Morghur upgrades and the Bestigors, but I think it's a little bit on the too expensive side. Do we have another turn? Yeah, we have 1 turn left of the joining of herds. So if we want to get some upgrades, now is the time. Now is the time to do it. Not that we have a lot of money for it. And we need to save 7k. But I am tempted by the raiding class. Take a Beastman raiding class. Also, We need you. But it doesn't include Taliban because it seems like that stuff doesn't include stuff across the river. Alright, well, either way, Kaz, you still got 2 more levels to go, so let's get you fighting. Let's see if we can't get an ambush going on poor Aldebrand. And indeed we can. Oh, you're about to get absolutely demolished by those hounds. Away with you. Alright, here we go, round 2 of Kazrak's debut, and what debut would be complete without an ambush battle or 2? We're going to charge right on in with all of these warhounds and chariots into that massive pile of enemy archers and crossbows. Of course, the crossbows are reasonably well armored, but nonetheless, I'm sure the warhounds will be able to crush them. And of course, Kaz will head directly towards the enemy general of the Empire, and he's going to get plenty of help from the various Ungors and his elite Bestigors, but from what we've seen of previous ambush battles, ain't no way this is going to last very long. Ambush battles are short at the best of times, and Beastmen ambushes tend to be pretty darn disgusting. Enemy column is completely surrounded. Enemy range units, which make up more than half of the enemy army, are now engaged and useless. The Minotaurs and Bestigors hitting the enemy melee blob from 2 sides, and I'm sure we'll be crushing them with decent ease. More Bestigors have actually managed to surround one of the enemy warrior priests and are whacking away at him, piercing that heavy armor with those great axes. Crude, but effective. And it looks like they've got, they've got runes in them. Well, maybe they're not so crude after all. Well, maybe only somewhat crude, but no less effective. Anyway, the balance of power is at about 75, maybe 80% in our favor already. Almost the entire back line of the enemy army has already shattered. Kaz has defeated the enemy lord in single combat and is just trampling him with his chariot now. And the enemy lord will shatter, and so will the rest of his army. Probably roughly a minute of a pitched battle, and very little damage, I'd wager, done to our army. Very nice. That's a strong debut for Kaz, I'd wager. A strong second battle debut. Game? Game? Something's happening. But anyway, that was absolutely horrifyingly, in the best way, effective. What do you guys think? Beastmen ambush or Skaven ambush? What is more horrific? With the Skaven, you get the poison wind globadiers and death globes and flamethrowers or warp fire throwers, rattling guns and Jezzails and artillery all firing into your column at the same time before you can react, with most of your army destroyed and before it can even move. And then with the Beastmen, the hard-hitting melee, completely surrounded and enemies moving so fast, preventing you from doing anything. And they're both pretty horrifying in their own way, but which one is more effective in the late game? I do wonder. I mean, if the roles were reversed, I would imagine, like, if a Skaven, well, if they were facing each other, if a Skaven column was ambushed by the Beastmen, it would get crushed. If a Beastmen column were ambushed by the Skaven, both in late game, I would think that the Beastmen would have a decent chance of turning it around. So, at least against each other, I'd say the Beastmen are superior, but against everything else, maybe Skaven would be the way to go, or maybe it's just the fun of watching all of those weapons teams do their thing. Anyway, I am digressing as I usually do. Let's see what we have. We can take the 2.2k, which is good, and we do want it, but that'll drop our bestial rage down further, which ain't great. I don't want to necessarily increase the bestial rage. We could also heal up, but right now it's probably not super relevant. Yeah, fine, just sacrifice the captives again. We need the money. And unfortunately, by the looks of it, we can't reach Groyden this turn. But that's okay. What we can do is... How much money would we get for raiding Allenhof? 621. Or in the alternative, we take the time to... Wait. I started building at Sangor with you, did I not? I did? Huh. Wait, can multiple... A moment. Does it not register that one of them is building them? What happens if we try to build them in 2 armies at the same time? I don't know. Oh, we also have no capacity for Hounds of Pestilence. Well, we're going to need some. Sad though it may be to use up Dread on this. Let's get a few more Hounds of Pestilence. It's not like they're crazy expensive anyway. 1782. Alright, and for now, we'll save the rest for Malagor. We need it. Not that we necessarily need Malagor, but I do want him up and running ASAP. Ungors, you do have... I think we'll keep the Ungor Spears. And then keep the others Gores in this particular army. So, merge selected units. Alright, 2 of you up and running. Then we'll get rid of 2 of the regular Warhounds, put in a couple of Hounds of Pestilence, and then we'll get rid of the 2 Ungor herds of the regular variety. We'll try this. 1 Sangor, just for fun. I just want to see if we can bypass the increased capacity. And we'll get 2 Gore herds with shields. I guess we need another regular Gore herd, so one of the Ungor raiders will go away, and we'll get replaced by another Gore herd. And there we go. Plenty of Gores, though we do have to keep in mind that Khazrag does buff Ungors with that poison, which is quite nice. So we'll still want to possibly use a few of the Ungors in his army, at least until we get tons and tons of Bestigors, as one of the many signatures that he seems to have. Alrighty. Morghur, there is no further capacity of anything that we'll probably want to build with you. Oh, we could do a couple Razor Gores in Khazrag's army. Since he doesn't have any more Hounds of Pestilence capacity, does he do anything for Bestigors? Not Bestigors, for Razor Gores. He does, obviously, Razor Gore Chariots, but that's one of his signatures. And Bestial Cunning, that's more buffs for ambushes. Okay, wait. Yeah, we got Gagors, Ungors, Gores, and Bestigors. And here we have Chaos Warhounds, Razor Gore Herd, Feral Manticore, and Harpy. Wow, he could just... Okay, Khazrag seems to be a generalist. He seems to buff pretty much everything. And we got stock for Razor Gores. Alright, fine. We can replace 2 Hounds with 2 Bestigors then, at least until we can replace these guys, or Razor Gores rather. Everything has Gores, it's confusing. Alrighty, and then while we're here, we can either build up the raiding class, or... Now, the Impaled Corpse is expensive, but it still will leave us enough to upgrade Taurox, so I think we'll upgrade Taurox. Taurox, you can continue raiding, because there's nothing really to replace in your army. It's good as it is. And frankly, we don't care about the survival of any of the Ungors. You see what I mean? And I believe that's it for this turn. So, let's end said turn. Outpost available... Oh, right. No. I believe we're okay. End turn. Just gotta make sure we keep Grimhammer alive. And wait 1 second. How close are we to popping this ritual? Ooh, still a fair ways off. And we have to loop back around to Klesson. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's start racking up those marks of ruination, but at the same time, enough dread to get Malagor on the field and our 4th war herd. And, you know what? I think... I could be mistaken, but I think the army, at least, of Morghur is now good enough to fight his signature, or not his signature, his quest battle. Defensive alliance with Clan Skull, not right now, maybe later, but only temporarily. Anybody or anything else? Oh, and how about some names for those Chaos Spawn as well? We're going to have plenty of them in Morghur's army. After all, in fact, we already have plenty of them. So he currently has at Sangor, and Kazrak does as well, so you can in fact bypass that. Meaning, when we get, for example, our first Gorgon capacity, if we have the buildings to build Gorgon in every army, we can build 5 Gorgons, or whatever number of hordes we have by that point, instead of the 1. Alright, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. Does it feel cheaty, though? What do you guys think? I may or may not make use of that, and oh, you're coming for Grimhammer. Damn, I'm gonna have to send Kazrak back up there. I was gonna hopefully go for Groyden. How dare you. Tremendously rude. Anyway, Morghur, you're about to fight a quest battle, sir. Taurox, you're just gonna quickly auto-resolve Ziflin here. Just gotta keep an eye out on Aelhart. And, yeah, okay, we'll find some stronger Dowie to fight later. This is not worth our time. Loot and raise for the cash, and you're not moving again. Swell. Juggernaut rating stands for you, sir. And, ooh, Grom the Paunch with a full stack, you say. And a full WAAAGH. You know who's tempted by that sort of thing? His name is Taurox. And he loves murder. Alright. I've had too much coffee today. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? I don't know. Anyway. Ooh, wait, Taurox. No. Hidden encampment. And Blooded Lair. Ooh, horrifically expensive. We'll need to save up 7.6k, but the fire pit will be up and running and more Minotaurs up and running afterwards. A second. We've got 3 Minotaurs. I want to see, what kind of Minotaurs are we able to build? We aren't able to build the Great Sword variety. Oh, no, we can. The Bulgors are the Great Weapon variety. I was wondering whether we should build some Minotaurs of Khorne, and which Minotaurs will get more names. I'm going to start putting the names in there for everything in a couple of episodes, I think. And just got to figure out what armies want to look like what first. Anyway, Kazrak, real quick. And go into Beastmen ambush and destroy this little... We might not be able to get to Grimhammer if we do that. I don't like that. But then again, we've only destroyed 1 settlement near it. So it isn't that big of a deal. If we were to, for example, re-raise at Groyden... wait. Is it showing us... Oh, I see. Groyden includes Kara's Gumzel and Brasky, but not Castle Leinster. Yeah, I think it's showing us from Grimhammer. But anyway, we're still gonna destroy you. It's free dread. It's free dread estate. And I'll resolve that. Oh, Boris is... Oh man, I feel bad for these guys. Karl and Boris both just come back, instantly wrecked. And this time I think we'll take the kill captives. It is money, but at the same time. You're gonna have to go back into raiding stance, and alas... Do we perform the ritual before this... Oh! You actually probably wouldn't be able to reach, or... Nah, you would be able to reach us, wouldn't you? We can perform the ritual and then raise the herd stone. Maybe that's the way to do it. And then just raise another one at Groyden. There's no, like, reason not to do this, is there? I don't think so. I think we can just freely do that whenever we want. It's not like we have, I mean, I guess we lose the blood ground buff, but otherwise... Otherwise, I think we're fine. I mean, I guess we could risk this guy not moving here, which is the main thing. But at the same time, I don't think we care enough. Alright, fine, just do the ritual now. Yes, perform the ritual. Ritual performed. Good. Free Talisman of Endurance. A free poison attack Pox Carrier. A Slaughterhorn Tribe challenge completed. Ritual of Ruin available. Some free marks of ruination. And then you goodbye. For now, we'll raise a new herdstone somewhere around here. Morghur, it is time for you to shine. You still don't have the levels to buff everybody up with their super buffs, but I think that should still be good enough. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna access that Stave of Corruption. Ooh, it's actually in the enemy's favor. I guess the piles of enemy... the Glade Riders, I guess. Gonna be the problem, eh? Nonetheless, teleport. Wait. What are your items like? Oh, your items are fine. The Talisman of Endurance will probably go to Taurox or Khazrak. Yeah, you can have a Gambler's Armor, though. And Dragon Helm is garbage. Charmed Shield is currently on Khazrak. We have a Pigeon Plucker Pendant, which we can keep on our Flying Lord once he's up and running, and otherwise it looks like nothing there needs to be moved. You also... Oh, you don't have a caster. Because we're trying to get Slaw to get into a Taurox's army. Which is a shame, but I guess you're going to have to do this without a caster. Away you go. Now let's give this a quick read, shall we? Stave of Ruinous Corruption. It's my favorite kind of corruption. Enemy details. Quest details. Wherever the shadow gave treads, a dark tide of ravening madness and mutagenic power corrupts and changes all those around him, whether friend or foe. Containing the essence of chaos that trails the Master of Skulls beyond the capability of any mortal means, and even to Morghur himself. No, to harness this power requires rituals with totems made from laboriously obtained materials, orc spines, dwarfen skulls, and most burdensome of all, the stolen waystone of the Azrae. Morghur's travels had seen him cross paths with such items, and thus he needs only to return to his lair to begin his foul ritual. The insidious elves, however, have not taken kindly to his pilfering, and are never far behind. I'll be far behind when they're dead. Alright, Valiant defeat, apparently. There's probably reinforcements moving in. We're gonna need to take care. We have the Beast Banner. We're gonna pop that on you. Missile strength, yes. And then nobody else has missiles here. I guess once we get chosen Sandgors, they'll have missile strength as well. Gleaming Pennant can be held by you, sir. And otherwise, I think we've got a reasonably decent chance. Away we go. These pathetic forest-dwelling elves come for Morghur, but he must hold fast. The ritual is well underway. He cannot let Ariel and her minions take from him that which he has toiled over for so long. Morghur is beset, but the position is defensible. The waves of elves will come and crash upon the beastmen as waves crash upon the rocks. They shall leave nothing for Ariel to identify them by. A ruinous power flows through Morghur. Alrighty, here we go. A quest battle and a pretty nice map. I'm not sure I remember this one, or maybe it's the autumn colors that make me not remember. But it does make our beast hordes and our chaos spawn feel like they match the map very nicely. Anyway, as some of you may know from watching previous campaigns, the replay is a little bit wonky for quest battles, mostly because I want to keep the speeches, the pre-battle speeches in, so we have to do more editing, so hence the little bit of a jump cut, but that always happens for quest battles. As for how we're deployed, now we have to keep in mind that Morghur's army, or at the very least his he himself and his Chaos Spawn, are unable to Vanguard deploy. Instead, we Vanguard deployed all of the Ungors and Gors, as well as our Centaurs, to distract the enemy army while Morghur moves in with his Chaos Spawn. The Centaurs are going to try to catch and destroy the enemy Wild Riders, as they're going to be the biggest threats on the field, while the Gors distract the enemy in the center of their formation. Then, once the Wild Riders have been dealt with, our various Centaurs will hopefully hit the enemy in the back, destroying all the enemy range units and preventing them from being particularly effective. Also, debut of the Sandgors, which look pretty nice. And these are not even the chosen Sandgors, these are the regular Sandgors, but they got some pretty neat equipment. And certainly not particularly crude. Alrighty. Well, the Tsaangors are in. Unfortunately, their barrier is already down, but, well, the barrier prevented them from taking any damage whatsoever from the enemy range fire. Looks like we're engaged everywhere. Of course, the enemy Eternal Guard will absolutely obliterate our Ungors, but we're not really worried about Ungor deaths right now. The Deepwood Scouts and the enemy Wild Riders are all now engaged by the Centaurs hitting them in the back, and that's the main thing. Over on this side, some more Glade Riders with with poison arrows are being engaged by additional Centaurs, though the other Centaurs have taken a little bit of damage to the Wild Riders with shields. Nice little bit of a cavalry contest here, but it won't be merely cavalry and doing the damage anymore, as finally the Chaos Spawn Morghur's signature units make their way onto the field. Just got to get him a few more Chaos Spawn, a couple Jabber Scythes, maybe a Incarnate Elemental of Beasts just for that additional Mortis Engine effect, and this army is going to get very, very strong. Probably the only army that will have no access to Vanguard deployment, but I'm sure Morghur can overcome. Alright, and now the enemy army is very much surrounded. The balance of power shifts to about 70% in our favor, though our Centaurs have been taking a beating all over the place. Now that the damage-dealing Chaos Spawn have arrived, we're starting to work our way through those Eternal Guard quite quickly. And I do like the fact that the enemy army is sort of color-matchy to this particular map. We got the autumn colors on the foliage, and we got the autumn colors on the enemy banners, heraldry, color scheme, whatever. The enemy lord has come down, the Glade Lord, and is trying to go after Morghur himself, and Morghur has taken a little bit of damage, but I'm sure he'll be okay. And besides, standing near Morghur is bad for your health for any unit. And over time, that should most definitely tell. An additional unit of, I should say, Chaos Spawn has been summoned by Morghur's ability as soon as he got near to a close enemy damaged unit. And it looks like the enemy cavalry have been taken out in the background by our Centaurs. Which just means that more Centaurs can join the fray and hunt down any units that are routing and not yet shattered. Smash right into those Eternal Guard and into their backs where they cannot bring those spears to bear. The Tsaangors worshipping mutation as they do, and Morghur being mutation made manifest, essentially acting as his personal guard and helping to try to bring down that Glade Lord, but it looks like it won't be needed much longer as the balance of power shifts to about 90% in our favor. Only the Glade Lord remains and refuses to abandon the field, as it looks like this Glade Lord in particular is unbreakable. The battle also, by the looks of it, took a little bit longer than it otherwise might because of that blessings of the Mage Queen. This particular quest gives the enemy army the ability to heal itself. And I guess this particular Glade Lord has been healing self and unbreakable at the same time, which explains why it's being difficult to bring down. Not to worry, though, it's completely surrounded now, and the rest of his army, while it was receiving healing throughout the combat, which kind of explains why the Centaurs were having such a tough time, that did not prevent them from routing, as they didn't have Unbreakable, so we're okay. A few more hits, and Delina will go down, and the battle will be ours. Morghur is in here somewhere. I can't spot. There he is. You can spot him by that big old sort of horn and a headdress he's got going on, with all of those bones and skulls worked into his hair, and of course that big old claw that he's got. Kind of impressive that he's wielding that big old staff one-handed one clawed to whack people, though it does seem he tends to use his claw to whack away at people more, which does make sense, as it makes him look more like one of his signature Chaos Spawn. Anyway, with that, finally the enemy Glade Lord goes down, and though the victory was Pyrrhic, and due to the heavy damage dealt to our Ungors as they charged the enemy to distract them, it was a victory nonetheless. Obviously, our army is going to get better over time, and this may be the, well, for a while, one of the more difficult battles that Morghur has had. Gotta get him up to that level 12. Alright, there we go, an actually reasonably tough quest battle, as it took us quite a while to work our way through all those enemies. Although at the end of the day we certainly did, and ooh, his bestial rage is finally in a decent place, but at 3k gold I think it's worth the reduction. We'll get it back up and running, I'm sure. Anyway, how'd we do, incidentally? 16 and 15, nearly 16k on a couple of the units of Chaos Spawn. We got 103 kills and 16k on the Sons of Goros as well, and it looks like the Sangors at 13k definitely outdamaged pretty darn heavily, I should say, all the other Gors, including the Black Horns Ravagers, interestingly enough, which makes me think that perhaps the Razor Standard should go to them instead. Yeah, we're gonna take the money for that, and we're certainly gonna take our stab of Ruinous Corruption. 500 Dread Reward, and so close to Malagor as well, and a decent amount of cash. And I guess there's a good reason to do these quests early as possible, and that is to require early dread for Beastmen. For other factions it isn't as important, and of course the fact that the quests remain reasonably tough in the early game. We also get 2 more Chaos Spawn capacity out of the staff, so we can build 2 more, as they'll be the main focus of this particular army. And some Sangors, but for now we don't have their capacity, and I'd prefer the additional spawn over any Ungors, so I guess we'll build a couple more. Morghur, if you go into Hidden Encampment, will you still heal up nicely here? Not as nicely, but I think nicely enough to be able to hit Schoppendorf next turn, so I think we'll start moving away from Altdorf. We just gotta be real careful about getting attacked out of Dukelberg. You, sir, are going to delete a few fewer Ungors and get more of those Chaos Spawn. Is this too many Chaos Spawn? Can there be such a thing as too many Chaos Spawn? I'm not sure, but well, that's what we're doing. And I guess since they only take 1 turn to re-recruit, it's still pretty okay, and they'll get a lot stronger once we have all of this stuff on the field. Or the upgrades for Morghur. For now, it's we're just saving all the points. We're gonna get everything all at once, and it'll be a huge power spike in a mere 3 levels. Anyway, let's see what everybody else has to do, and it ain't in fact anything, so I think we're good. We're not gonna upgrade any of these stones because it's not worth our time or money. You, sir, are gonna keep raiding Kazrak. Wonder if there's anything we want to build you. I mean, I guess we could get the raiding class. Wait, did I build the upgrade for you or no? Yes, I did. And we'll need 7k, was it, to upgrade this? 7.6. We'll be able to afford it. And we could build the raiding class right now and still be able to afford it, eh? Alright, might as well keep building these everywhere. I mean, it will mean a reduction in being able to build you. Oh, and we get the Godgore's capacity at tier 4, but we don't have the ability to build them right now anyway, and we probably won't for a while, admittedly, so yeah. Fine, just build a raiding class. We will be raiding some stuff on the way to, you know, other stuff. Anyway, skip, outpost available and ignored in the turn. Everybody rebuild your stuff and get going for more battles. And we gotta try to get Ambuscator on pretty much everybody for the ambush success chance, as it is horrifyingly effective. I do have to wonder whether Grom will sack Montfort. Has he moved yet? It would be ideal if he did, rather than moving into it, because I'd love to fight him in the field, including his WAAAGH. I think he's already moved, though. Though I could be wrong. Yeah, he's already moved. No way he's all the way at the end of this. Alright, that's fine. Ambuscator for you. We have another quest to upgrade any settlement building to tier 5. That's going to take a while. Oh, somebody's going after Marienburg. Well, that was bound to happen. We're going to come back around and kill you. That's going to take a while to complete as well, the quest. I mean, you, Slaw, are going to loop back around. Grome. We're not currently at war with Montfort, so I wonder if they'd help us. No, there's no way they'd help the Beastmen, right? There's no way. Also, can we even win this? I mean, Taurox can win this, can the rest of his army win this? I guess is the real question. And the answer to which is, I'm not sure. In the meantime, though, Morghur, you have things to do. Go into Ruination stance and hit Schoppendorf, please. Time to get that Bestial Rage up and running. And Pyrrhic Victory, eh? Does feel like it's worth fighting? Probably not, to be honest, man. It's disappointing that he'll be hurt, but he does have that bonus casualty or punishment rate right now, so yeah. And we have destroyed Grimmenhagen, so we'll go for Gruiden while we're at it. You, into Ruination stance. Actually, no, you know what? Don't use Ruination because it's a reduction in post-battle loot, and ow! It's a minor settlement. Ah. Is it worth fighting a minor settlement battle with you? No. I mean, it's still basic Empire troops. This one I don't think is worth fighting, mostly because, well, there is a decent amount now that we have so many Chaos Spawn. They don't have much of a chance, and we'll have to wait while we break down the walls. We can find a better battle than that. Also, is this your only quest item, or do you have another? No, it's the only one you have. Well, that's unfortunate. Wait, what does this do? Oh, right, it summons a unit of Chaos Spawn, so even more Chaos Spawn. But anyway, just auto-resolve this. I'm much more inclined to fight the Grimhammer battle. Let's raise for the Bestial Rage to get it back up to a good place. Then, do we heal more via Hidden Encampment or Raiding Stance? Well, I guess we can move in Raiding Stance regardless. If we take out Allenhof with you... and then we can loop down to Wiedebach and then loop over to Dukelberg with you, and then start moving towards Wood Elf territories with Morghur. And then Kazrak wouldn't have to loop back around to Allenhof, which I think would be a decent option. Oh, WAAAGH the Slaughterer is here. We have to fight some orcs. And maybe Grimmenhagen was the better position after all. Maybe I shouldn't have destroyed it. But I was expecting these guys to attack it. I'm not sure. What I am sure of is this, though. I want to fight Grom, and thus, that's what we'll do. Can we win it? We'll find out. Let's see what upgrades we want here. Juggernaut will buff you personally. This is not an upgrade that we need. Gore Feast. Yeah, you know what? Let's do Gore Feast. And it's not going to do too much for us right now, but hey. May as well. I mean, we could get the Dazed Contact effect for this. Might be helpful. Let's do that. Alright, and we should still also look towards getting your Rune Tortured Axes relatively shortly. I just want a few more Minotaurs in this army. You, Brabener, you're going to be very instrumental in this fight. And I think we're going to want to max out probably Viletide and Brace Scream. I mean, Traderkin's alright as well. But we're probably going to be spamming Viletide and Devolve more than any of the others. And Brace Scream doesn't seem to do as much damage as the others do, it's just more cheap and spammable. Nonetheless, we're probably getting everything in here anyway, so just max out Brace Scream. Alright, and Grommy, we're going to declare war on you, but are you at war with any Skaven? No, unfortunately you're not. You do like us, but you won't like us for long. Taurox. Strike. Let's hope he doesn't run.
Waste of Grom's time.
Completely necessary. Oh, and I was going to give Taurox the amulet, but whatever. Alright, Pyrrhic Victory, and the Bretonnians will help us. That's absolutely hilarious and bizarre. I think some things shouldn't be possible, like I really don't see them helping us, but I guess we can use them as a few meat shields. And then have our Razor Gores and Pestilence Hounds, or Hounds of Pestilence, and do the work in the background. Anyway, looks like a pretty fun fight. A big ol' fight. Away we go. Hey, and a little speech from Taurox. I don't know what it was that he said, but I'm sure it was absolutely horrifying. Ah, look at him prancing through this little flower field. Isn't that nice? It's soon to be all red and destroyed. But anyway, here we go, facing off against a full stack of Grom to punch and a full WAAAGH as well. And there's some pretty darn good units in the WAAAGH. 4 units of trolls and 2 units of pump wagons to add to what Grom the punch already has. I guess for this particular episode, we're gonna have a bit of a competition as to which of our beast lords got the best battle. Was it the debut and ambush battle of Khazrak? Was it the quest battle against the Wood Elves for Morghur? Or will it be this WAAAGH bullying of Taurox? Very nice to get all 3 lords, all 3 legendary lords fighting in the same episode. And such different battles between a regular battle, an ambush battle, well, I guess this is technically a regular battle as well, but it's against the WAAAGH and a quest battle. Anyway, we've moved in. We can see that devolve coming down on the enemy, and our damage dealers, our minotaurs, will be trying to break through the absolutely massive hordes of the enemy greenskins. Of course, we got a little bit of help in doing that as the Razor Gores move in and start applying bleed to all those boys. Might have been better to wait on the devolve a little bit to be able to get a little bit more mileage out of it with the bleed being combined, but that's okay. Over in the background, we have our anti-large Hounds of Pestilence running down those signature pump wagons of Grom the Paunch, and damn, it just sort of disappears. Now, the pump wagon's getting absolutely obliterated by those hounds. The hounds don't have enough armor to actually really care about the armor sundering of those spiky rollers, and with the anti-large and reasonable tankiness and model size of these things, they're pretty darn good at being pump wagon hunters. And coming from the Grimhammer campaign, I have a very healthy respect for the pump wagons, which have always been a little bit overpowered. Yeah, you gotta watch out for those things because they can be real nasty, especially the spiky rollers. Otherwise, it's a big old slugfest as our army faces off against both of the enemies. I did decide not to wait for the reinforcements from our Bretonnian quote-unquote allies, though we will turn on them immediately after this battle and kill them all as well. Rather, I feel like Taurox wouldn't have waited. He would have just charged on in. And frankly, he would have attacked the Bretonnians immediately after, or, well, even more likely during. But at the same time, we will attack them immediately after, so yeah. Anyway, Taurox is working over on the leftmost flank, where the enemy has sent 4 units of its trolls, all the trolls from the reinforcement. He and the 2 units of Razor Gores on this side have managed to take one of the river trolls out and have forced their stone troll unit to shatter, and are now working on another stone troll and another river troll unit as well. It's better that Taurox takes care of these guys, because nobody in our army would be quite as adept, let's say, at dealing with this pile of trolls. Alrighty, come on, whack away a little bit and then get right through them once you're done. We do have those Razor Gores to help out as needed, and just got to be careful of them getting surrounded and destroyed by the trolls. Anyway, looks like some pump wagons are trying to move through our battle line, but fortunately with the minotaurs interspersed among the various gores, the pump wagons do have a tendency to get stuck. Nice little flying ungor there. Another devolve comes down on the enemy as we continue fighting under that, acid rain. And the boys and the Ungors continue exchanging hits with their various choppers. Over in the background, we are continuing to wreak havoc with our various Hounds of Pestilence, chasing down any enemy archers, any enemy cavalry units, and any enemy units that are trying to escape. And it looks like Grom the Punch has made his way into the fray now. At first I tried to send Taurox at him, but Grom just straight up ran away. He ran towards his WAAAGH. Kind of a smart thing to do, and man, he can certainly kill plenty of those Ungors by the looks of it. A bloody spot right under that big old chariot of his. But can he kill as many as Taurox can? Because here comes Taurox, and he's coming after you. And best be running there, Grommy. And there we go. Taurox is in now. You have stopped, and this is probably not a place you want to be. Grom having been defeated by Grimhammer in the Grimhammer campaign and forced to confederate, and now Taurox towers over him. I feel like Taurox could just flip over that chariot if he wanted to quite easily. And hey, Taurox can roll too, as we've learned in previous episodes. Otherwise, it looks like the enemy trolls have rallied and are moving back into the fray, but Grom is running, and we're gonna chase him down. Taurox, together with his with his mentors now acting once again as his personal guard, not that he really needs him. But more importantly, I just wanted to make sure that we chased Grom down and caused that morale shock to the enemy army. Can't have him escaping and going after our undefended herd stones at the current time. Alright, and it looks like with that, Grom gets completely surrounded. We've sent some of those Hounds of Pestilence in to keep him poisoned and unable to run, and down he goes. And man, the way that Taurox just towers over even the other Minotaurs, it's a scary boy. Anyway, looks like with Grom fallen, the enemy army begins to rout. That is a major morale shock. Between army losses and Lord incapacitated, it's looking like it might be too much. There's still a unit of stone trolls fighting, quite impressive, considering the relatively low leadership of trolls, but these are stone trolls, the best of troll kind other than the bile trolls. So it does make sense for them to attempt to stand like stones among the enemies crashing upon them. Anyway, with that, with the rest of the army routing, these stone trolls will follow as well, and the battle will be ours. Man, a massive fight with an absolutely massive number of kills on our side. We did get quite a bit of damage on a few of our leading Ungor units, but that's what they're there for, and just to distract the enemy until we inevitably replace them with Minotaurs and monsters. A heroic victory for us, and potentially for the Bretonnians as well, but I imagine they won't live long enough to celebrate it. Alright, very nice. I was very happy with that battle, though a decent amount of Grom's units did escape. Now, let's take a quick look at the performance here. 20 to 25k on all the Razor Gores, and roughly 20-ish k on the various Hounds as well. In fact, out-damaging most of the Minotaurs, but unsurprisingly, and they were hardly holding the line after all, so that does make sense, but very useful units to have. Happy with their performance. Now it's 2.4k at the cost of all the Bestial Rage. Well, not all the Bestial Rage. Yeah, I guess we'll take the money. It's not a crazy amount of replenishment, and we do need that cash. We'll take the Bestial Rage next time. Now, I take it we won't be able to reach the remnants of that army. Well, what we will... Diplomatic relations with High Elves causes terror when fighting Greenskins. Don't particularly care for either of those, but oh well. Yeah, we won't be able to reach Mr. Nurjug Rotgut. Damn, I was hoping with what we could do was... peace out with him immediately, and then use him to attack the Montfort territory, which we're going to attack anyway, but it would have been funny if that was possible. Anyway, with that, we are out of time. We got two more herd stones to raise, so we gotta raise them up and get more of the marks of ruination, plus we now have more of the dread than needed, so we can raise or get Malagor on the field next time around. We just have to figure out where exactly we want to pop him in so that we know which direction we're sending him. Since we know that Morghur is headed down to Athaloran this way, and Taurox is probably going to hang around here and maybe take out the knights by heading towards Kurun. Kazarak is probably going to more or less cover around the Empire for a little while until it is completely in flames. I guess Malagor would probably be going down this way towards Vlad and Draika and the other Imperial territories. But of course, once all of the empires are destroyed, both living and dead, we'll continue making our way in every direction. Anyway, more Beastmen to come, so hopefully that episode was worth the wait. Some glorious battles this time around, and many more glorious battles of the Bulls await, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold for the hour. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.